It's your girl Sonthia Coleman here with the fashion code. If you guys don't know, you about to find out. So let's talk about it. If you guys haven't checked out, I was on Instagram and I post. No, I was on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok at the Fashion Tech Maven Girl. No, it's the Fashion Tech. I think it's just the Maven Tech group. My God, so many socials. Anyway, you can just go if you type in. I think I'm gonna change it to Ness. I think it's like no, it's the Fashion Tech Maven. That's it. It's the Fashion Tech Maven, which, we spell Maven around here MVN. If you don't know, you're about to find out. Shout out to my Puerto Rican sister who helped me with my branding guidelines in order for me to do this. You see what I'm repping? Girls Who Code. Got a cute slogan on the back. Ew. I think it says Girls Who Code Make Waves. Anyway, I'm about to make waves over here. I just want to give a special shout out to people that take Zoom calls that are building in real time. If you guys don't know, I have been building silently for a year. I've been prompt engineering, Google developer here. Um, if you saw my post on TikTok, you said that my idea was approved by a software engineer. I'm good. My mentor is a software engineer. Shout out Trinity. Um, and yeah, we're celebrating. We got our first, well, I don't want to say first client because that'd be a lie, but we'll say our new client, which is Florida Tiff. She has an amazing art and stationery brand, which we're going to be highlighting here on the Fashion Code. So we're actually going to be building something for her in real time. You guys don't know, her name is Tiffany Brown. She's a New Orleanian. And I have started with this client in the beginning unofficially. So it's an honor to be here and represent her and for her to be a part of Opulence Consultancy. So right now we are diving into one of the Microsoft's MVPs, Noelle Russell. She's somebody that I follow. Um, I recommend kids, young adults, people are interested in gathering in tech is to really build. And I say build in silence because some people will not understand what you're doing. I have been training my ChatGPT and Claude for over a year. And I had to move it off a certain platform so that I can own and control the data that I was inputting. And so shout out to the school community, which someone introduced me to that. Noelle talks about responsible AI. And so you see that I've gained a library behind me. Don't look at my junk. But it's fashion tech here for real. So we're building a chatbot in real time and we're doing case studies. Something that I enjoyed in undergrad when I was doing a lot of like fashion research work for fashion merchandising brands, for brands who needed fashion merchandising consultancy. We did a lot of case studies, but they weren't documented in this data heavy way because you had to always partner with a marketing agency to get the information. So what's really cool about using AI is that you have everything in these large language models that allows you to, number one, to control the data, but the important part is getting the right data. And so, quick story time. As I professionally move into different spaces, which is like cybersecurity, you guys, I represent B-Side NOLA as the communications director. That has been amazing. And doing a lot of GRC work, I'm going to be diving into these case studies. So, in order for me to do any type of work for any of my small businesses out there, because I come from small business, my dad had a construction company. I was a mini architect, along as him architecting. Even in my own home that I live in, we've architected that together, me and my father. And then my mother, she was a master colorist and cosmetologist, and we mastered that business and very successful. So when I say I have the DNA to do the job, I do. But the data behind doing the DNA and the job lives here. And so I'm partnering with some really cool partners. I have Girls with Code provides me with so many resources for my girls. If you guys don't know, I have a fashion tech club. And you'll see me, it's called Learn with Lourdes. You go to learnwithlourdes.com. And is that something that I'm fundraising forever? But in order for me to have funds for Loris, we got to do stuff here for Opulence Consultancy. So we are learning about the responsibility of building the proper chatbot. If you don't know my story, hey, Charmaine. If you don't know my story, I built a chatbot with a company that went viral on TikTok, and the bot name was Gloria. And a lot of times people behind the scenes developers, they'll name bots, and she was talking about that, of names that don't sound like anything of diversity. right? So my bot today is honoring of my 4-time great grandmother who actually geographically live close to me. So never would have thought like, years later, like it's on my father's side. It's my grandma Julia. So shout out to Grandma Julia. I am doing a bot in her honor and it's gonna be called Jupe. So her name was Julia Penn. My grandmother I put on there on TikTok, she was the uptown goddess, honey. And I did a lot of historian work too. A lot of people came to my grandmother's funeral in her census. She was born in like 1878. Okay. So grandma had influence, honey. She's in a lot of these, and I live in New Orleans. If you guys don't know, I'm from New Orleans and Houston hybrid. And if you guys don't know, there was only one black mortuary, or I guess you could say service here in New Orleans, and my grandmother actually was there. So there's a lot of historic things that I'm actually doing in my work. But the data's in the DNA, and I'm using my ancestry in my DNA. So I told my dad about it yesterday because I asked him, her daughter, which is my grandmother, Lottie, um, Grandma Lottie, like I ask stories about him because I'm putting this into the data system so that my nephew, when he grows up, he ever be like, yeah, these bots that my aunt created, like these are after my ancestors on the family tree. And we're gonna put these stories into the family tree and be like, yeah, you definitely use this. So this bot is so it's not related to this actual ancestor. So I have cousins who have businesses as well, but this bot is an image of me. And so my grandfather on that side, he built houses. And if you don't know, heard about the Seven Ward, he built houses in the Seven Ward. Shout out to Jumberville Street. My grandfather, Willie Young, built all these houses. He was the first son, first reader right in our family, and he raised my father. So the architecture run different. So when I did my like reassessment for my career, and they were like, "Sonthia, you're architect." I was like, "Architect what?" They was like, "Architect of that internet." So my Puerto Rican sister Anna, who helped me create this whole Maven movement, I had made a comment on the phone with her. I was like, "Girl, my daddy was questioning me about the internet." I'm like, I said, "Bitch, I am the internet." And so she has this meme that she made for me, which I'm gonna learn how to make Giphies too. Cause I'm gonna make myself into a Giphy. I'm gonna send that to my dad because he is the ultimate challenger. But I'm learning about responsible AI. So what I do is that I can't consume all the information, like instantly. So a lot of these books I put in my personal library, which shout out to my Aunt Tanya. If you don't know about the Tanya Barbie doll, originally this was my Aunt Tanya's room, and she was amazing. So she brought me to my first bookstore, so it's her fault. But I'm building everything with the DNA. Right now, we're gonna get into building. So my sister said I burn computers. And I talk to a lot of tech people, they say they do the same. So I have not got my monitor yet, but I'm down to 2 laptops. Okay. So I'm down to 2 laptops, and because I'm also working in education, they do have some resources here for teachers. They don't have a monitor for you girls. So that's okay. We've been hacking since we came out the womb. So we're doing the 5 prompt engineering. So I feel like as a conversationalist, I know how to prompt and how to talk to it, but typing and writing, prompting has kind of elevated. So I want to stay sharp. So what I like about Noelle Russell, you can follow her on LinkedIn. She talks about the 5 prompt engineering. So it's prompt, purpose, people, prompt, profile, perfection, and persistence. And I like the fact that I'm learning from a Latina woman because I saw that a lot in tech, and my goal was to see a lot of Afro-Latina, African Americans, people diverse all over the globe just to be in tech as well and help build these entrepreneurial businesses that we grew up with. So I'm using Florida Tip to build her a personal chatbot named Jupe. I think she's gonna like that because she loves Paris. So she just recently went to Paris. So I know my client because I've been on her since a long time. But from a business perspective, what is her pain point? So we recently had a consultancy, and I'm putting my notes from my recorded video with her into the prompting for the prompt engineer. So we're just gonna do a little behind the dashboard scenes with me on this Savvy Saturday. So I hope you're all well. If you guys check me out on TikTok, this is going on YouTube, so make sure you follow me there too. But we're going to walk through this process. She's really good at patient too. As I mentioned, you're not going to go inside of this book.
What I'm going to encourage you to do instead, if I can find it.
Just want to say this. So I shout out to I call them my cyber parents. I have fashion merchandising parents. I have cyber parents now. Yeah, I always get a couple who do the same thing, and they're like experts at their field, and they love on me. It's crazy. Trent and I don't want to lie. I'm blanking on her name. They live in Houston. Love them. I have to call them. And then now I have Nejo and Chris who tell me all about the cyber world. But the goal is that even whatever I create, I need to have protection, right? I need to be able to. When I helped build Gloria, I got to a point where it had empathy, and Noelle was talking about building a bot that has empathy, and so that's pretty hard. One thing I love about growing up here is that New Orleans have a lot of soul, and so you grow up with sometimes too much empathy and consideration. But building something that represents somebody's business. So if let's say you got the wrong order, that has happened in supply chain management. You got the wrong order. What is the tone that my client wants to convey to her customers? Because we want to have repeat customers in every business. We want to have referrals, want to have word of mouth, and want to have repeat customers. So if you guys want to book a call with me, I encourage you to go to SonthiaColeman.com or AppleNest.com. You can book a free 15-minute consultancy with me, like a free discovery call, as they call it, with my consultancy. And we've added new services that we've been training with these models. So number one, we're going to do a whole marketing strategy. We break down the core of marketing, like what is your pain point and how we're going to solve it and continue to see it grow over a certain period of time. So I love this whole like 30-day, 90-day, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, because with the data, you're able to see that. She says, when you have a chance, I would like to email you when you talked about your 4 times great grandmother named Julia, my 5 times great grandmother named Julia. Wow, what? We might be related because there is a positive slave story behind it. I have subscribed. Oh, thank you, Charmaine. Well, is your grandmother from New Orleans? Um, wow, that's crazy. I do have a cousin named Charmaine on my mama's side. A lot of people are related, and that's why I was raised by a lot of elders, and they always say know your people because you definitely could be dating your cousin. Especially down here, New Orleans being the port city that it is. Wow, definitely could be related. Yeah, and there's a lot of stories where I have two parents or two elders that were adopted. And when we say adopted, that means, like, for instance, on my father's side, there's a lot of Colemans down here, and my grandparents was on a plantation. They had a child, and they had to give him up, and so that was the whole story. So a lot of times you'll see people growing up, and there's like, you're related to this person. I'm like, no. And some of these names were made up, as we know. So thank you for your subscription. We appreciate you over here. And I think personally for me, knowing who I am was very important. So I take what is given to me and I make it my own. So I wanted my nephew to know who he is. I didn't want him to guess. I didn't want him to say. I want him to know exactly who he is. And when I'm able to show my parents, who they are, it was very it changed my entire life and my purpose. Not that I would differ from one liking one other. Like, for instance, I want to go to Portugal, right? That's one of my goals. My my great grandmother, her name is Portuguese, it's Pear. So there's a celebration happening right now in New Orleans for this Lions association. I've joined the association in honor of my grandmother, right? And honor my grandfather. So these things help me walk in doors, in places, and in things. I never forget, I have a friend who told me a federal air marshal, and he had a bracelet on. He said, you need more than like visual protection. He said, you need spiritual protection. When I see him, I'm going to tell him what he said, but had affected me ever since then, that you need more spiritual. So when I build these things, and you could only have so much spyware and cybersecurity, honey, but when you have that spiritual protection over what you're creating and you have a purpose, listen, you get into spaces and doors, you be like, come on, girl, you got here. Come on, you just, what? So it was crazy because I actually went to go to my grandmother's house. and I was on the wrong side of the city. Cause me and my so when I Googled, like, my house from my grandmother's house, we're, like, 5 minutes away. So the street that she walked, the street that my great-grandmother, like, on, I remember, like, feeling like, "This ain't where she's supposed to be." And then I talked to my dad yesterday, and I was like, "Daddy, do you remember any of these? Like, tell me what you remember." My dad said my grandmother always had, like, watermelon for them. Um, and the house that I grew up going to was her daughter's house, and I didn't, I was young. So then when I could tell you I can go there without GPS. I mean, literally, I remember driving there, I got my car, and I remember just driving to her house. And, very, very, very monumental. No, she was born in Alexandria. Oh, okay, Virginia. But she had 14 children in slavery, and many were sold away from her to Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. We'll talk, have to go. Okay, Charmaine, no problem, baby. Yeah, listen, Grandma Julie been showing up for me, so I'm sure we probably are related. And it's funny, I have the cousin on that named Charmaine on my mama's side. My mom always had nice things to say about her. Wow, look at that, grandma. Like, that's crazy. You said no, she was from Alexandria. Because Louisiana, Virginia. Oh, but she had 14 children. Damn. You know what's funny about that? You know what's funny? I cannot. They said that my grandmother's Julia's mother is unknown. Her daddy was Jerry Penny, which could have been made up. That's crazy. Girl, I'm gonna screenshot this. Whole girl, what? Girl, let me screenshot this. My dad ain't gonna believe this. He be like, girl, that's insane. Girl, if my grandma coming through like this, honey, I'm about to get on the jet, okay? What? That's insane. I really looked and I was like, they said they had her dad, but they and I okay, so if you go to my TikTok, you will see that I just created a thing of how I think she looked. That's wild that you said that. So my she's really working on me, honey. I'm gonna look up. I have her obituary and everything. So whatever you need, if you're on ancestry.com, you can go find me. I'm Sonthia Coleman on there. But please message me. So I would love to share any details to help you find your people and you be my people. You are my people. So it's all good. That's crazy. Oh man. I'm reading the show again. Away from her to Louisiana. Damn. And you know how they used to name their children the same name? Or they gave them same names because they were on the block? That's crazy. Wow. Yeah, so I'll tell you this story. I know you'll watch the replay maybe, but, I was driving and I was thinking about her, and I left out the house, and some said go back to the house, but I know I cut everything off, and I have, like, this glue for my hands because I have eczema. Lord, that's another story, and so I went back, I got the eczema thing, I kept thinking about her, and my grandmother, which is her daughter, Lottie, um and I have a picture of Lottie on, Grandma Lottie on my TikTok, the image I just made. The AI image I made, and, I was thinking about her and their wedding anniversary is the 16th. So I told my dad, I said, "Dad, I was thinking about grandma and her, Grandma Lottie's anniversary and grandpa is coming up." And it's just so crazy how I be on it. But they always say I'm an old soul. But anytime people read my energy, they be like, "Girl, you have so many people around you." Protection. So when I build these things, I have another bot that I'm building. I'm sorry, not a no, it is a bot. It's a bot for my business. So if you go to SonthiaColeman.com and, Opulence is really just a booking site. So that's why it's just for my consultancy. I've rebranded it since I've left official fashion manufacturing. I'm servicing private clients. So if you have a business, a brand, that's my forte. And I'm including marketing strategy into it. I'm including um, Opulence has a consulting antique styling service because I'm so vintage, honey. I have a lot of information with that. I also have a potential client that I'm working with. And then I do social media and strategy, social media content strategy, that's together. So there's 4 different services that I'm gonna be highlighting. I think they're already on the website. I have a newsletter called The Fashion Code, which is this here and also on LinkedIn. But for my site, I'm building Oja. So Oja is my grandmother from Africa. She is from the Congo. She is on on my dad's side on his I get them mixed up sometimes. This is Grandma Mill. This is my grandmother. So this is my dad's paternal grandmother. And if you guys ever heard of the story of Coin, this is why I know what I'm doing. If you ever heard the most powerful woman of color in Natchez, Louisiana, she was an entrepreneur, she was a boss, she freed all her children. She actually created the word Creole, honey, and that's my auntie Coin. Well, my grandmother was her sister, Victoria LeCompte, who her story was that her wife could have the wife of this white man LeCompte couldn't have no children, and they hired yeah. So Auntie Coin is my grandmother's sister, half sister, and because my grandmother Coin's parents, they both were from Africa, and they have them on the ancestry. So if you're on Ancestry, you'll see them. But Oja is my grandmother from Africa, and I am building a personal bot in honor of her on my site, and I'm excited about that. So, but what I did was when I thought about Grandma Julia, I just decided that I was going to build this bot for her, and I was at the coffee shop because it's crazy. I was sitting up there, and I was like, okay, I have to buy a pastry each day, so let me spread this out. And I go in there, and one of my students left her phone. And so I give him the phone, and he's like, Miss Coleman, you got the wrong breakfast. I'm like, what? And I wanted to get something for my sister, but I was like, let me get in here and get out of here. So I got enough breakfast for my sister. This was Friday. Enough breakfast for my sister for me. Go back. The owner of the coffee shop, daughter name is Penny. I was like, bro, I gotta get out of here. And now I'm seeing this right here. This is crazy. So then I look back at the house because I put the house and the picture of my grandmother, and I tried to I would probably put a picture of my grandfather in there, and I asked my cousin to send me some pictures too, because the goal is that it's going into my agent. So this is for me. I pay for Claude, I pay for ChatGPT, but I wasn't really impressed with them. But if you follow Morgan DeBond, she's amazing. I'm in her paid community on Patreon, and I'm gonna take her class and do the my ChatGPT. But I'm loving on Gemini, and I think I might give Gemini my money because Gemini be on. But these are the things that happens behind the scenes. These are some of the tools that I'm building. So if you're interested in scaling your business, you have a budget for advertising and marketing and consultancy, holla at your girl. I'm building with True DNA, honey. Um, I'm gonna get back to this, and you get back to that. It's Sassy Saturday. I hope you guys are leading with intention. That's what I try to do. If you know a child that's interested in coding for anything to do with technology, my fashion tech program is expanding to everyone because the school that I'm working at is closing in May in New Orleans. And so we have partnered with my homegirl, Tamika Jed from Passion Dance Center, and she owns a nonprofit that we are working with specifically called The Purple Print. And we're doing like a fashion magazine collaboration for our girls. However, I just signed up to do a college loop. We have one of my students who will be graduating, and I'm signing her up. Not sure I work with a counselor on this, but I'm not sure what school she's going to. But I do have a partnership with Delgado, one of the business professors, who's my brother, and he's already volunteered to help me. So if you know someone who is in college, who is a first year graduate, undergrad student, graduate student, and they're interested in learning more about code, Girls with Code is a great organization. Hence, I'm wearing the shirt. I don't really care for t-shirts, but I wear this shirt and some Florida Tech merch. And so if you know a child, especially a girl of color that needs an organization that they can commit to, a lot of times there's so much buzz. Girls with Code is giving out a laptop, so I signed up because 3 of my babies need a laptop. Well, 2 of my babies, but they need a laptop. So Miss Coleman has signed up for that. Um, there are so many opportunities, and I feel like there's so much fog around the internet. These kids don't know what direction to go in. And by me working with K through 12 and diverse learners, I feel like when you just stick with something. So the reason why I'm doing this, shout out to Sky, who's part of the Wells community. I had a great conversation with her at that coffee shop, honey, thinking about my grandmother. And she told me about this. And I said, Sky, she come from tech. And I said, I've already built a chatbot, but I didn't get credit for it. I didn't get no credit. Okay. But I have wrote down everything. Maze, Maze. My dog think it's his show. Hey. Maze, let me know. That's why he got Sam the office. Um, I wrote everything I did down. And so I have 3 girls who are interested in 3 different things. I have one of my babies, she's interested in cybersecurity. I'm like, I got you. I have Maze, you are messing up my video. Hey, go ahead now. Go ahead. These dogs be like children. Go ahead, Maze. You making all this noise. I'm talking. Go ahead. Them old people say, what them old folks say, children in the room. Maze, go ahead. Maze, bye. Come on, let me finish my sentence because I got work to do. But I have one child who's interested in cybersecurity. I have one child interested in avatar creation and game development. Okay. And I have one child, she's interested in journalism and she's really good with communications. And I want her to have some tech skills. All of my babies will graduate, they'll finish this year with a certificate from Girls Who Code because we've already done our coding lesson. We're just working on our project. So proud of my 3 little mighty little people. Okay. And so I told them that, Miss Coleman don't get paid for this. This is all volunteer. So I need y'all to help me so we can help each other. I need you to go in and really deal with this dashboard and get familiar so you can be social. I'm going to help you any way I can. We're going to continue this thing even though the school's closing. We're going to continue what we started here. And so 1 year have changed my whole perspective, perception over working with children. Shout out to my sister Tyra. She's amazing, and we both have to look for work, because work is ending. And so the goal is that I've always been entrepreneur, always had, a couple of hats all around. But this is now more purposeful and more balanced to me. And so now I'm showing them tools that I'm using in my own curriculum, my own life. So I know this is something my grandmothers want me to do because I feel like they're the one pushing me. They push me into school. I've worked in corporate fashion 25 years. Now I'm in a school. What? You tell me when to eat, when to do this, when to do that. I was like, I'm losing it. And then I got freaking some type of dermatitis from my hand washing, all kind of foolishness. But I still prevail. I put band-aids on my hand. We still typing. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like when I think about my ancestors, they had to endure so much more. It's International Women's Day. I did a post about my grandmother, Juliet, all of my grandmothers that has held me up this far, that has never let me down. And my grandmother taught me this saying. I'm going to leave y'all with this. My grandma used to tell me, she said, as long as you have a pure heart, there's nothing in this world you shall want. Nothing in this world that you shall want. Your desire get chills every time I think about it. And so with that, I'm going to keep building. I'm building in their honor. I have something special for my grandmother Mildred, who told me that she's my foundation, my source. She's right here. Oh, she went to school with me. My grandma died in 1993. 1993 was a hard year. 3rd grade was hard for me. And so if I could teach girls could code in 3rd grade was real rough for me. But if I could teach girls, to prevail, I went to summer school in 3rd grade. You know what I mean? I'm here. But grandma went everywhere with me. When I went to college, Grandma Mel went to college with me. The picture, and it was a flower, and me and her was in it. And my 2nd birthday party, Grandma went to college with me. Grandma built every business, every failure, every sucky date. Grandma was there, honey. So now I'm asking my grandma to help me build these bots so we can help these entrepreneurs and build our women up, and where we're building our own safe, secure, dope, colorful, fly, stylish ecosystem for our babies. So with that being said, if you guys want to donate to the mission, you have anything you want to do with that, you guys can go to learnwithlourdes, LOURDES.com. Fill out information. Let me know. You know where to find me. All right, guys. Sassy Saturday. I gotta go build for grandma them. Bye.